Well, hello there, and welcome to your show, Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you. We need you. You are the person we wait for, right? Because we're a live call-in show, a safe platform for us to come together as the lay faithful, and we are just shooting the breeze. We're changing the world together, one call at a time, and we introduce the topics, and then you call in. You don't have to be Catholic to call in. Reconsider you part of the family. Absolutely, part of the Take Two family if you're listening. So here's the number. Jerry's going to introduce the topic. I know I have a lot to say about this topic, Jerry. 833-288-3986.
Well, first of all, congratulations. You got the right phone number. You just gave the right phone number for the show.
Oh, did I give the wrong phone number
No,
before?
you gave the right number. That's why I'm congratulating you.
Thank you,
Debbie
Jerry.
and I are hosting a pledge drive for the Station of the Cross, and sometimes we get the pledge drive number so ingrained in our head that we give that out on the radio show. But, Debbie, you did great. You gave the show number just right. So, yeah, it's 833-288-3986. Yeah, we're talking today about letter writing. Do you still write letters? Do you handwrite them? Maybe even I type everything up on the computer. My handwriting has just gotten horrible since the the proliferation of keyboards and computers and all of that. But we want to know today, do you still write letters? Do you still exchange letters with people, the old-fashioned types of letters? 833-288-3986.
I do. I have note cards. You've received some of my note cards, Jerry, when I'll send you some correspondence. I love writing letters. I love cursive writing. You know, I guess that they don't teach it anymore. So the kids nowadays, they don't know how to make the real fancy kind of writing technique. But I understand what's the art of calligraphy.
It's
coming. Yeah, I understand that's coming back. So things like that are coming back. So that's good. So you know how the pendulum swings back and forth. But everybody goes to either an email or a text message or something of that nature, and they have stopped the art of creative writing. And I've always tell people, please, I would love. You know, my favorite gift is, Jerry, a card that somebody makes.
Yeah.
And writes in it. Remember when we were kids and we used to take a piece of paper and fold it like 4 times and we'd color the outside of it and with crayons, and then we'd open up and we'd write something inside. We made our own little old-fashioned Hallmark cards. I love that.
Great memories. What about you? Take Two family. Let's go on this topic today. 833-288-3986. So a lot of different kind of questions within this topic. Do you still exchange letters at all with anybody? Do you handwrite your letters? Do you type them on a keyboard? Do you have any special letters? Maybe you've got, I definitely have a lot of special letters that I have saved over the years. Surprising to myself that I actually saved those.
Wow.
Maybe you've got a letter that someone wrote to you. Maybe it was the last correspondence you got from them, or maybe it was something to motivate you, encourage you, inspire you. We're talking about letter writing today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Maybe you've just kind of moved everything over, like Debbie said, to emails and text messages. But this is something kind of a trip down memory lane here on the show, as it often is, and so the phones are starting to ring already. Matt Gabensky is on the telephones today. Ace McKay is our producer. Jeff Person on social media. 833-288-3986. Call now so you get in on the first group of callers to share your take on today's topic.
833-288-3986. That is the Take Two phone number, the EWTN phone number, call-in line. Matt Gabensky will answer your call. You'll speak to him for a few minutes. He'll put you on hold. You'll get to listen live, and you'll slip right into the discussion. Ace McKay, our producer, is at the controls doing a fine job. Jeff Burson is monitoring social media, and he does it in such an incredible way. That's why we call him a social media expert. Okay, Jerry, I want to just share something. Did you know, now I know we have a show coming up on de-stressing, like what do you do to de-stress? Okay, but did you know that I was talking about coloring? Do you guys remember the coloring books we used to have, and people would draw the outline of the item and then color inside the lines and everything? Did you know they started using that? I didn't realize this. I'm giggling only because I could just picture friends of mine doing this. It's hilarious, but it's good though. Do you know they're using coloring books in a corporate setting to help corporate executives just relax?
I didn't know that, but
yeah,
it makes a lot of sense.
I like to color. I used to get frustrated though. My sister, I have to say, my oldest sister colored so beautifully. She would color perfectly in the lines, so perfect it looked like a masterpiece. Mine looked like a mess. Did you ever have coloring books?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, what about you, Take Two family? Do you maybe you use coloring books to de-stress? We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, yeah.
If that is the case. But we're talking about letter writing today, and like I said, my handwriting, it used to be really good. But now literally I can hardly even sign my own signature. My name, I type letters on the computer, print them out, and then just even signing my name sometimes comes out looking kind of weird, just because it's been so long since I wrote anything by hand. I often say, Debbie, the keyboards of the future are going to have two keys, one for each thumb.
Oh, oh yeah. But the technology is so great, and yet we've lost, I think, so much of the side of imagination and creativity, and just being expressing ourselves in such a unique way. Everything is so standardized. That's one of the reasons why this whole AI movement kind of bothers me, because it doesn't allow for that. Because I'm a creative writer, that's what I love to do, and it just bothers me that we're losing that creativity. So are you creative? Let's ask this question: are you creative in how you correspond with people? I know that some people, excuse me, to make their emails more personal, Jerry, they'll put their favorite scripture quote, or some, they'll do something unique at the bottom of their emails to maybe make it a little bit more personal. What do you think about that?
Oh, absolutely. I get a lot of people we know. One of our good listener friends, Tony in Texas, is always putting quotes and scripture verses and things together in emails to us. So yeah, the personal touch, handwriting. Do you still write things out by hand? And again, we asked earlier too, maybe you've got a special letter that someone wrote to you that you take out once in a while and reread, and you just look at that beautiful touch, that special handwritten touch on that letter. 833-288-3986. We still have a couple open phone lines, Patty and Suzanne, and the others who are being screened by Matt right now. We will get to you momentarily here. This is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you on EWTN Radio. The phone number to join us, 833-288-3986.
The most original and exclusive Catholic content is on EWTN Radio.
I don't like looking back. I prefer to look forward and keep moving forward. There's plenty to cover. I do a lot of research and try to dig out the bits and pieces of a life or of an agenda that people don't want to talk about.
The World Over with Raymond Arroyo. Thursday night, 8 Eastern on EWTN Radio and Television.
This is Father Dennis Wild of Priests for Life with Pro-Life Update. The Christian faith advances through testimony. Jesus gives testimony to the Father. The apostles give testimony to the resurrection. Paul gives testimony to his conversion. Augustine gives testimony in his confessions. You and I give and receive the testimony of how Jesus changes the lives he enters. That is why the Silent No More awareness campaign is so powerful and necessary. Men and women wounded by abortion and then healed are speaking out about the lie of abortion and the power of Jesus. This month, through our initiative called Healing the Shockwaves of Abortion, we are focusing on the deep damage done to mothers by abortion and about the healing available to them. There is no benefit at all to a mother when she has her child aborted. Find out more at abortionshockwaves.com. This is Father Dennis Wild on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
We're talking about handwritten notes today, how you correspond. Do you pull out those little note cards that say just a little note to say hi, and then you write inside of it a beautifully handwritten note, maybe put a little hearts or something like that? I do that all the time. I have friends that do that. It's hilarious. My one friend, Karen, if you're listening, Karen always cracks me up. She decorates the outside of the envelope, the inside of the envelope. I just love it. And it's so beautiful to get a note from her in the mail. The mail, yeah, the old-fashioned mail where you get the mail delivered, right? That's what we're talking about today. 833-288 888-3986. Please call us, share with us your thoughts on this. Maybe you're a teacher and you could share with us something. I want to know why they stopped teaching cursive. I really do. Maybe a teacher could weigh in. I just want to try to figure that out. But before we get to the phones, Jerry, I wanted just to highlight the Mother Angelica Memorial. Visit EWTN site dedicated to Mother Angelica, where you can celebrate her remarkable life. It's filled with photos, milestones, heartfelt stories, and her wit and words that have inspired the hearts of all ages throughout the years. All you have to do, folks, is visit EWTN.com/Mother Angelica today.
Love to hear from anybody who has recently been in college too, because I remember back to my college days in the early 1990s. We had the handwritten exams, the blue books, and things like that. And I wonder if I wonder if you're allowed to do exams on your laptops or your computers or what have you nowadays. So that would be an interesting take on this topic to hear as well. But we're going to go to your phone calls at 833-288-3986, talking about what may be a lost art, or is it handwritten letters? If you still do that, maybe you've got a special one that you would like to pull out every now and then and read for great memories or inspiration. We're going to start with Patty, who's in Texas, listening today on the EWTN app. Hello, Patty.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing great. So glad you called.
Oh, thanks. Well, I've been doing handwritten notes since my kids were little. I'd send notes in their lunch boxes. So I continued on, and I've got a very talented daughter who's now in her 30s, and she started making me cards when she went one way and we went another, and she'd make these beautiful cards, and I was, wasn't that creative, but I put stickers on those things, and I'd mail her stuff and things. And now that we're up in Canyon Lake area, there's a lot more older people, and they are not really fond of some of the technology. So if it's a birthday or whatever, I do make the time to go out and get a card. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's serious, and I'll handwrite it and do some silly stuff or maybe serious stuff on the envelope and put a stamp on it and mail it, because they appreciate going to the mailbox and getting real mail. And another thing, when I make donations to like the Sisters of St. Francis or whatever, quite often as a thank you gift, we'll send you mass cards back that you can send, like when people pass away, if they're sick or if they're thinking of you or whatever, and you can have a mass set for them. I didn't realize, but the older people know what these are, but I sent them to some younger people that have been recently widows. These are so beautiful. Where did you get them? I'm thinking that everybody's got them, but apparently they don't anymore. So so many people have told me they're so comforting to get something, that offers a mass, and it has readings in it and scriptures. I have little cards and stuff like that. So all that sort of stuff, people I think are starting to come back to wanting real people touch to their mail.
Real connection, Patty. They want a real connection. Absolutely. Patty, you'll be so proud of me. I want to tell you this. That's all I've been giving out as for birthdays and for Christmas is I give mass cards. I send mass cards. Jerry got one this year. You did get mine, right, Jerry? You got one, right? Okay, yeah.
I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, and they're beautiful. And I go to certain monasteries and missions, and I get the cards, and they're just beautiful. And I send mass cards. I have to tell you something, though, Patty. I was a little shocked a week ago when I went into the Walgreens by my house. Do you know that those cards for birthdays and anniversaries and all sorts, they're up to like a lot of money. I mean, it's a lot. There was one card that was like $6. I'm like, I'm not paying $6 for a card. Is that the way it is in your area, Patty? Because it's very expensive.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you can go all the way up to $11 if you want to get really la-di-da. Wow. But it's like, no. I mean, maybe if you're going to use that as instead of a gift or something, maybe. But and when you ask the question about, very much. For script, my grandkids didn't learn script. When the family moved to another location and I wasn't so close, I would send them, I'd take the time to write just a little one-page kind of note, but I'd write it in script. And their stepmom would help them read it so they could get the connection of how it read, even if they didn't know how to. I tried to teach it to them, but they didn't teach it in school, and after a while, the kids weren't interested. But I think it's starting to come back because these kids, they can't read the Constitution in its original form. Or the Declaration of Independence. because I can't read script.
Yeah.
They-
Things do come back. Things come back around. I saw somebody wearing bell bottoms the other day.
Oh, they've been back. They've gone back and forth for years now.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I still have bell bottom pants, and I keep thinking I'm going to donate them, and then I go, no, it'll just come back around again.
Hey, yeah, they'll be worth something someday.
Yeah, really. But what do you
Thank you,
think of what
Patty.
Patty said?
Oh no, I think it's awesome. I love, like you said, the idea of mass cards, and you even, as you pointed out, that human touch, that human connection, going to the mailbox and actually having something tangible to pick up and read somebody's thoughts and sentiments that they wanted to share with you. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Thank you, Patty.
Yeah, thank you, Patty, for a great call today on Take Two. 833-288-3986, talking about letter writing. Do you still do that? If so, tell us about it. And maybe you got a special letter or letters that you have come across when you kind of go through your stuff once in a while. 833-288-3986. And Suzanne is in Stephenville, Texas, listening also on the EWTN app. Hi, Suzanne.
Hi, how are y'all this morning?
Doing great. How about you?
I love this topic. I'm from a family of letter writers. My granny, my mom's mother, was a teacher. And so, and my mom had beautiful penmanship, and I'm a product of the late 60s. Yeah, I graduated from high school a long time ago, 1968. So we all learned penmanship, and that's what we called it. And we all were taught to write letters, and in high school we took shorthand, and my middle sister still makes notes in shorthand. She's retained it because she just kept up the practice of it, But so we write letters to each other, even though we phone and text and all that. But the story that came to my mind that was so special for us is my dad died in 1982. He was a veteran of World War II, and he wrote letters back home. He was single at the time when he was in the Army. And he wrote letters back home to his sisters and to his mother, my grandmother, but we don't know what happened to all of those letters that went to my grandmother. But one of my cousins was going through things after her mom, my dad's sister, after she died a number of years ago, and found, I think there were 24 letters that he had written home from 1942 till almost when he came home in 45. And they were just a treasure. So I started typing them into a word processor to save them so that I could share them with my sisters and our kids as just a keepsake from him. But they're just we have them in the safety deposit box. I mean, in a safe to keep them protected. But they were. He couldn't say a lot, but he could tell us a few things, and then he asked lots of questions about what was going on back here at home while he was away. So they were real special to us.
I'll bet, Suzanne. I'll bet they were. This has got to be. I love the fact that you have them in a safe, and I'm thinking about that era that you're talking about. With your dad, being deployed overseas, all the time that it took for letters to arrive. The effort people would go to write them, and then it would take a lot of time to receive those and then respond to them. And we've totally lost that now. And I'd love to hear from anybody who's maybe served recently in military, and how you correspond. Maybe it's by text or email. I don't know what they allow, Debbie, for people who are in certain parts of the world deployed for military purposes. But this has got to be just a great treasure that Suzanne and them have.
I was just going to, it's funny you use the word treasure. I agree. Suzanne, I've heard stories where people put these letters together and they form, a family book, or they actually publish a book, or even I actually know one person that it was turned into a screenplay for a movie. I mean, it's really quite amazing the depth of these letters that were written many years ago, and there's a story behind them. And I'm sure that you found that as well when you read some of these letters, Suzanne.
Yes, and one quick thing, if I can share this, my youngest sister was married to someone in the Air Force. He was a pilot, and they were in the Philippines for 3 years, and then in Osan, Korea for 2 years after that. And that was in the late 80s and early 90s, and so she wrote letters home to all of us, and the letters, and I'm a keeper of things like that. So it's been in the last 4 or 5 years, I had a bundle of letters that I had received from her that I gave back to her. And the day that I gave them to her, she was at my house, and she sat and read them, and she laughed and cried while she was reading what she had written about her own family and their experience those years ago. And she thanked me, over and over for keeping those letters and then giving them back to her. One of them was really cute because it was written at the end of 1989, and she wrote about a party that she and my brother-in-law had gone to for New Year's, and then just what a good time they'd had and how he was home for a week or two. And then she told me later, she said, 9 months later was when our daughter was born. And she said that was when he was home. Because he would be deployed. He was a pilot, and he would be deployed into Japan and other places in the East. And so all of those, you just can't overemphasize the value of writing things down, keeping journals, writing letters, sending notes. They are special. And I thank y'all again for having this program today and for me to be able to share my memories.
Oh, you're so welcome, Suzanne.
Yeah, that was a beautiful call. Suzanne, thank you so much. Call us anytime. Thank you. What a great call. Now, Suzanne just freed up a phone line for you. Share your story about receiving a letter, sending a letter, decorating a letter, memories with letters. I know I have shoe boxes filled with letters and cards. I'm a big person like Suzanne, too, that likes to save everything. Jerry, when I went through my first bout of cancer in 1994. I shared it on the story. I mean, I shared it on the show. I shared the story before. At the time, my husband was asking people to send their prayers and thoughts with cards, but I didn't get a chance to read them. And then he presented to me a big basket full of cards of people who were praying all along as I was going through treatment and everything. And I still have that basket, and I still have all those cards.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Beautiful.
That's why they have such great meaning. They leave an impact because it's a soul-to-soul connection, and it's really quite beautiful. That's why I got to tell you, I'm so against these printed out cards that have all the messaging in there. I always ask my husband, please just take a piece of paper, fold it in half, and write me a card. And Marty's a man of few words, so he's always like, oh, but I like just picking out a card. And I said, just try to write something. That's big for me.
You can join us now, 833-288-3986, talking about the art of letter writing. Do you still do that? Have you corresponded with people? And we're hearing a lot from people who have found old letters as they've gone through things in their belongings. 833-288-3986. We're going to go to Old Bridge, New Jersey. Lori, listening on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Lori.
Hi, how you doing? Thank you for taking the call.
Sure.
First time call.
Oh,
Great.
Welcome.
Oh, we can't hear you now, Lori. Maybe. Are you still there, Lori? Okay.
Oh.
Well,
First time.
Okay.
Get letters.
Lori, start again, Lori.
Yes.
We couldn't hear you. Start again. Your connection's going in and out.
Oh, yeah. We'll have to have Matt check in with Lori there, and
Yeah.
yeah.
And she was a first-time caller, so I hope she gets to finish her call.
Yeah. It says on the screen here she found a letter that she had written. She had written her
She had
father.
written her
40
father
years ago.
40 years ago.
Wow. So, Lori, we're going to try to get you on because we know what you're going to share is going to be very inspiring for everybody who's listening. Greg in Illinois, you will be next. If we don't get to Lori, we're going to pause here in just a moment. But we have a lot of social media coming in. Michael M., a regular contributor, says, and I get this, Debbie. I understand it. For me, it's a matter of postage costing too much to do on a regular basis.
True.
And this generation and the last, for the most part, don't have the skill to write in cursive. That's from Michael M. And he is watching the video stream, by the way, on YouTube today. Pam says, I don't handwrite letters often and not sure that I can locate old handwritten letters. I have a little special script design I do at the bottom of my electronic communications, which confuses some people, but it's a way to still add something personal about me to the communications. She says, it's swirly. It's a feminine touch. So That's from Pam.
Oh, I like that. I just thought of something. Jerry, I've been a life coach for over 20 years. Mm-hmm. I just thought of something. Okay, I'm issuing a challenge, folks. Okay, this week, pick one person and send them a handwritten note. One person. Who's up for the challenge? I am. Are you up for the challenge?
Sure.
Okay, handwritten note to one person this week. Okay, there's your life skills challenge there. We might as well make the most of this wonderful conversation, Jerry. Please join us at 833-288-3986. We'll get back to Lori and Greg and Gigi and the others when we come back.
Apple TV allows you to instantly stream your favorite EWTN television and radio shows to your TV. All you need is a high-speed internet connection, a TV, and the Apple TV player.
Stand Tall Today features an incredible fellowship club with over 300 members, Zoom presentations, individual, group, and crisis coaching, exclusive interviews, and more. Initial consultations with one of our outstanding team of life coaches are always free. Stand Tall Today is designed to help you on the journey of life by sharing hope, love, peace, and joy, and by being a light to the world. Visit StandTallToday.com.
Hi, I'm Doug Keck. This is an EWTN Bookmark Brief, speaking with Dr. Edward Fazer about his book, All One in Christ, a Catholic critique of racism and critical race theory. It's published by our friends at Ignatius, available through our religious catalog. Dr. Fazer, tell us about this book and why you decided to write it at this time.
The book's about, among other things, the Catholic Church's traditional teaching on racism and how it applies to the current controversy over critical race theory. Critical race theory calls itself anti-racist. It must be innocuous, when in fact it's not, and in fact it's not even really anti-racist. It's just an alternative form of racism when closely inspected.
Okay, very good. Dr. Edward Fazer, All One in Christ, a Catholic critique of racism and critical race theory. Much to think about. Look for this book through our EWTN religious catalog, EWTNRC.com, all things Catholic. Of course, I'm Doug Keck. This has been an EWTN Bookmark Brief. We appreciate you stopping by. We'll see you next time.
Hi, this is Janet Williams. You don't have to be a woman to enjoy Women of Grace tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern here on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Talking with you today about letter writing. And do you still do it? Do you do it? Maybe you've transitioned, like pretty much I have for the most part, to just typing them out, printing them out, signing my name, and off they go. But I've got a beautiful religious sister, Sister Mary Letizia, who just handwrites. Of course, she has to. They probably don't. She's a poor, what do I want to say? A cloistered Poor Clare nun, so they don't have computers. So I love getting her letters. Beautiful handwriting. But what about you? 833-288-3986.
Jerry, you crack me up. This is the way my mind works. You crack me up. You said that you're having difficulty signing your name. Are we going to get to a point where you just put a thumbprint?
Maybe. I don't know. That's not a bad idea. Or just, just a J. I'll just put a J. I can get a J out, but it's not too weird looking.
Yeah, just put a J. I like that. Okay, so Ace McKay, we were talking on break about, and he brought this to mind, and I remember doing this. Do you ever remember getting scented notes from people? So like I remember when I was dating a guy, he sent me his cologne in a note, and I would send perfume back or something like that. Or I was telling Ace, he didn't realize this. I used to use air freshener with different floral scents, and I would spray it on the paper and send it. And people said, "Oh, this was so good. I could, I knew it was from you as soon as they delivered the mail." It was so sweet. Yeah. But we got Lori back, by the way.
Yeah. We're going to try Lori again in Old Bridge, New Jersey again. Lori's listening on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Lori. Welcome back. Oh, no. Are you there, Lori? Oh, you know what? This is very, very unfortunate.
Yeah, maybe Matt could talk to Lori and we can just communicate the message because we really want to hear Lori's story. Sorry, Lori. Sometimes it happens with cell phones and Bluetooth and all those kinds of things. So we forgive us. We're going to Greg in Illinois is next, as promised. Sirius XM 130. Hi, Greg. Welcome.
Hi, how are you? God bless you both.
Oh,
thank you. You as well.
Anyway, when I was stationed in Iraq in 2003, my wife and my Aunt Shirley, we wrote back and forth, and I look forward to the letters. And yes, my wife put perfume on her letters, and that's one thing that we always look forward to with mail calling. And we only got letters maybe once a week, once every 10 days or so, but you really look forward to those letters, and you keep them in your pocket all the time with you. And I tell you, that was really a big booster, for there's nothing like a handwritten letter, It's nice, having things on the computer and so forth, but there's nothing like having a letter in your hand. You can open it up and read it whenever you want, when you're out in the field or whatever, it's always on you.
To that point, Greg, maybe talk just for a moment about, how important that is because, we have so many men and women deployed around the world doing beautiful things to protect our freedoms. And oftentimes, school classes will put together a project of writing letters to the military men and women. But, some of us, I have to admit, I'm probably guilty of neglecting that myself. But just a little bit more about how important that is when you're away from home, away from family, and sometimes very hostile and dangerous situations. How important is that for you to have that connection, that lifeline to folks back home?
Oh yeah, it's really important. It's to have that letter with you and to know that someone is thinking about you. Even if it's there are times when I never did get any letters from any school kids or anything, but I know that has happened where they actually have a campaign and write letters to service people overseas, which is fantastic,
Right.
And maybe we could start something in the churches and have adults, send letters to people overseas, because there's a lot of single men and women out there that have really nobody, nobody looking after them, and or they have parents that a father that doesn't write, like my dad didn't write, So
but Greg, that's a brilliant idea. I love that idea because that's what we need to do as a community of believers to support one another and to never let any of the mystical body of Christ feel alone, especially when they're serving our country and they're overseas. I will tell you that I know that Sarah Club, for the club that supports seminarians, they do a big letter writing campaign for the seminarians because they feel alone sometimes as well as they're going through formation. But Greg, I come from a military family, and Jerry and I feel strongly about this. We just want to thank you so much for your service.
Oh, you're very welcome. I do it again, in an instant. So
Beautiful. What branch were you in?
I was in the Air Force.
Air Force. Oh, I wanted to go to the Air Force Academy so badly. My one brother went to the Citadel, graduated from the Citadel, so he's a Marine. My other brother is West Point. He's Army. I wanted to do Air Force, and then I found out I had to cut my hair, and I said, forget it. But it's true. I wanted to fly planes. Do you fly planes?
No, I was a heavy equipment operator. I was a master sergeant.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, thanks again so much, Greg, for your service and for listening, being part of the Take Two family and joining us on the show today. Appreciate it so much. We're going to go to Gigi next in another New Jersey call today, listening on the EWTN.com. Hi, Gigi.
Hello, Jerry. Hi, Debbie.
Hello, Gigi. For our Take Two family members, Gigi is our ministry team leader for our Stand Tall Today ministry. And you can find us at standtalltoday.com and the Inspired by Faith Fellowship Club that we always accept members on Facebook. Okay, Gigi, welcome. We had another call from Jersey. What's going on in Jersey today? You guys are all calling in.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I heard that. Yeah, I just love letter writing. I have my own stationery with my name on it. I always send thank yous and letters, and I love receiving them. And we have good friends, Doug and Christina from Columbus, Ohio, and they send us a postcard every time they travel someplace. And it just, my whole face lights up when I get it in the mailbox. I love it. And I also have a friend, Angela, from Utah, and her nickname is PD, and she loves letter writing. She has pen pals, and she will send me a card and such and decorate it, like you were saying, which I love. I feel like it's a dying art, and I just love it. And the other story I have is that my, before I go there, Mary Alice and Ken are big card writers, so I get cards from them with lovely, they say the most beautiful things and beautiful prayers in these cards. And it's so lovely. So she's a big letter writer, Mary Alice is. And my husband, as you know, was in education for years, a principal of an elementary school. And his fourth grade class would write back and forth to a truck driver who would then send them postcards from every state that he traveled to. The kids would get such a kick out of it. And one day he came to town because he had the delivery in New Jersey in their area, and he stopped off, and the children got to meet him. He was, John said he was just a wonderful gentleman. Yeah, just wonderful. And as you know, we get nothing, no food, no clothes, no medical equipment, nothing without the truck drivers of the United States. So God bless them, whoever's out there. My father was a long-distance hauler for years until he retired. So
wow.
Shout out to the truck drivers.
Oh, absolutely. And we have a lot of truck drivers that listen to Take Two, so I'm sure they're sounding their horns. I don't think they can do that anymore. Remember, we used to always ask the truck drivers to sound their horn. I don't think they. I guess that maybe they still do it. I heard you're not supposed to ask them to do that because it could be dangerous or something. I don't know. But Gigi, let me ask you a question. You said you have your own stationery. Does it just have a G on it? Does it say Gigi? Did you order that? Like, how did you get your own stationery? Just curious.
Well, you can have it, the whole first name and last name, which I did, and you pick the script, which is so much fun because there's all different fonts. And, I have my name, first name and last name at the top of it. And, I use that whenever I send out thank yous. I have it embossed on the stationery, my name. So there's all different ways you can, it's fun just picking it out because there's so many different choices.
But Gigi, okay, so you were probably on the phone with Matt Kabinski when we issued this challenge, and you're a life coach as well. And so on the Inspired by Faith Fellowship Club on Facebook, and anybody can join it. All you have to do is go to standtalltoday.com, look for the Fellowship Club. You can meet Gigi on Facebook. It's really fun. Gigi, if you can, do a post with the challenge saying to everybody in the Fellowship Club that they have this week to send a handwritten note to somebody else. What do you think, G?
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, sure. Yeah. That would be wonderful. I was saying to Matt, who was so nice to talk to, he enjoys letters and cards as well. And I was saying it's a dying art, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's like a dying art now.
Yeah, but maybe it's coming back. Maybe we could bring it back. What do you think, Jer?
Yeah, maybe we could single-handedly bring it back.
Yeah, well, if it comes back, it's likely not going to start with me, but I could certainly get on board that train if it does. But yeah, Gigi, I just love that you have your own stationery and you handwrite things. I mean, some people are just wired in a more creative way, and I don't think that way, unfortunately. I'm kind of just maybe a dull and boring
You're
thinker.
You're a guy.
Yeah, I'm a guy. I was trying not to go there, Debbie.
Yeah, well, that's what my husband always says. I'm a guy. I'm not going to get calligraphy and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Go
well,
ahead.
it takes me about 30 seconds to pick out a card, at the card shop.
You sound like Marty.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's hilarious. No, but don't you love that? I mean, Gigi went to, that takes when you get a handwritten note and then and you have personal stationery and it's done well and somebody, decorates on it. That makes you feel loved, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Yeah, I
Gigi, that
mentioned
was a great call. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Gigi. We're going to get to more of your calls here as well, talking about letter writing today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. If you're on the line, hang on there. We're going to get to as many of you as we can, and we're going to go to Deanne next in McKinney, Texas, listening to us today on Guadalupe Radio Network. Hi, Deanne.
Hey, how are you, Jerry and Debbie?
Doing pretty well.
Hey, is this our Deanne from Stantall?
It is.
Hello.
Nice to talk to you. How are you?
Great. It's so good to hear your voice. We love you to pieces. So, and that was Gigi right before you, who was sharing. So, Deanne, tell us. I mean, you're a great writer. You're a fabulous blogger. Okay, tell us. Is this is this a dying art? I mean, did we start something here?
I feel like it needs to come back. And I was thinking about the fact that I think my husband and I were the last generation in terms of military where you didn't have access to the internet to send an email. And so I have all of his letters from his deployment during our early years of marriage, and they're probably in an attic. They should be in someplace like a safe or somewhere, like your previous caller said, just because it is such a historical record of what was happening and, what he was experiencing. It wasn't wartime at that time, but he saw a lot of the world. And those cards were few and the letters, few and far between sometimes in terms of how long it took to get them. And we didn't have cell phones, so we didn't get to communicate by phone very frequently. And so letter writing was really the way that we stayed connected. And those are a treasure. I think that word was used by a previous caller, one of you.
Yeah.
But I also have received my grandmother passed away a few years ago, and my mom recently gave me letters that I had written to her when I was in maybe middle school or even into college. And I have gotten such a kick out of reading those and just a trip down memory lane of what was going on in my own young life and what I shared or my sense of humor, or the drawings that I would put on the cards. So it is truly a trip down memory lane to have those pieces of history, and I think it needs to come back.
Yeah. Well, the importance of historical records, like you kind of mentioned, you used that phrase, Deanne, and it just reminded me. I used to have a friend. He's passed away now, but he was an archivist, and he would do archives for a Catholic church up in Oregon, and archives are just such an important part of our lives. And like you said, you can go back. I bet it really is a kick to read what you wrote, in those letters. When you were, like you said, you were still pretty young, and probably just brings back a ton of memories for you and just showing the love that you had for the people that you wrote the letters for.
Yeah. Well, and I do have a couple of things that I've seen done. So anyone who has young children or maybe who has a special card, I've seen where someone's taken, say, your grandmother or somebody special to you, a godmother, wrote or signed a card, maybe with a sentiment of affirmation or encouragement. I've seen a photo taken of their actual writing on the bottom of the card and then blown up and framed or and then placed, maybe by the back door. So as you walk out, you see your loved one's handwriting giving you, those words of encouragement. And, maybe they're now deceased, but you can, it's like a little hug from them as you go out on your day or just glance up at your wall. And the other thing is, I wish I would have done or thought of, is if you have a young child and say it's their first birthday, a 1-year-old doesn't really need a lot or even realize it's their birthday. So I've known, I heard of the idea of having guests and family members write a letter to that child of their wishes and hopes for them, and then present those letters, say, on their 16th birthday or when they graduate from college or high school. And, at that time when they graduate from high school, say, some of those people may be deceased. And what a beautiful box. You know, Debbie, you were sharing the letters when you went through cancer to open up later in life and look back, and these are the people, these are my loved ones, and this is what they hoped and wished for me when I was born, and how much they loved me. So those are just some ideas for implementing writing.
Yeah. That's brilliant. And you know, Deanne, as you were sharing about the signature, it's so funny you said that, because I loved the way my mother signed her name. And just about a month ago, I looked in the book and to see how she signed her name, and I love that. But now with Jerry, as he gets older, we're going to look at a thumbprint because he can't seem to write his name anymore. But Deanne, I love that idea. That is brilliant. I could probably just magnify her signature and blow it up underneath her picture. That's actually a brilliant idea. Deanne, you're awesome. Thank you so much.
You can take Jerry's thumbprint and blow it up too.
That's true. That's true. I think you should switch to a really cool J for Jerry and U for Usher, like a really cool kind of calligraphy, JU, and then it would be great.
Okay. Yeah.
Then you don't have to worry about spelling out Jerry Usher.
That's right. Initials work better sometimes.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get back to more of your calls. First, I want to tell you real quickly about the show that follows us. The Doctor is In with Dr. Ray Guarendi, Monday through Friday, 1 Eastern Time. Dr. Ray, of course, as you know, you probably listened to his show. He takes calls, talks about family, marriage, relationships, anything going on in your life. So don't miss the chance to listen and call in. The Doctor is In with Dr. Ray Guarendi, weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time here on EWTN Radio.
Okay, we're going back to the phone. Social media is coming in. That's great. You can always email us if we didn't get to your story or we don't get to your call today. Email us, take2@ewtn.com. And again, a thank you to our ministry team leader, Gigi, for calling in. Gee, I just realized something. You've got to call in at least once every 6 months, because people always ask, who is this Gigi from New Jersey you're talking about? And they got to hear your voice, and that is awesome. So thank you for calling in and brightening our day. Okay, Linda from Bryan, Ohio, listening on our friends at Annunciation Radio. Linda, take it away.
Oh my gosh, I thought I was just writing your email address thinking you were not going to get to me, but I have a cousin whose wife died, and their child, Stephanie, I was cleaning out things, and I found bags every year of Christmas letters, of Christmas cards I was going to throw away. And in those bags, I found letters from Stephanie's mother, who had died, about her family over the years. And I messaged Stephanie to see if she would like them, because I was going to throw them away. I mean, they're really, really old. And she said yes, and I bagged those up, every letter, maybe 15 years worth of Christmas letters from her mother about her and her brother. I mean, I read them before I sent them to her, and I cried. Because of just, I mean, the sheer detail.
Linda, I burst into tears as you shared that, because I actually have a neighbor that a similar thing happened with the loss of a family member, and they got in the mail all of the Christmas letters that people do with the detail, and exactly what you're saying. And I just burst into tears when I heard that you did that. How beautiful of you, and thank goodness you did not throw those letters out, right?
I'm a future hoarder. I'm
You're so
trying
cute.
to avoid that. But I also wanted to address, I mean, you made a statement about how you would rather have personal notes rather than cards, and I absolutely love cards. I love them when they can say what I was wanting to say. And so I do shop the Dollar General, and, you know, I read the cards and I find the cards, but I need to share this card with you because I'm sending this. I mean, and also, I think I might even write this in my own cards, but this card on the cover says, God makes the best people, thoughtful in their ways, helpful in their deeds, understanding and loving at heart. And on the inside it says, and on the day you were born, he outdid himself.
Okay, that's amazing. Now, that's a unique card. You got that at the dollar store?
Gosh, and I sent that card to my Aunt Rita, who turned 102 on March 18th.
Oh, beautiful.
I love it.
And And she died on March 25th.
Oh, wow, a week later.
A week later, yes. But that is the card I sent to her. On the day you were born, he outdid himself. Now, I mean, I'm buying this card. I mean, oh my gosh. I've sent it to a couple people already, but I'm thinking I might just, plagiarize myself and, well, maybe say God makes the best people. On the day you were born, he outdid himself.
Here you go.
I love that card. And it's a dollar store card.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have to spend a fortune to find some beautiful sentiments in cards these days. Linda, thank you very, very much. We appreciate you being part of the conversation today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. I want to get to Geraldine in Bruce, South Dakota, at least, Geraldine, before we end the program today. Hopefully more callers listening on Real Presence Radio. Hi, Geraldine.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to say I'm a mail carrier, and I appreciate the topic today. Great. And I always decorate my bills, even with stickers, and I pick particular stamps because, of course, I have a whole array of stamps, being I'm a mail carrier. And so I like doing that. And my mom and dad have passed away, but they had a trust with some land in it. My brother rents the land, and then when he pays the rent, I'm the one in charge of dividing the money up and sending it to the 7 brothers and sisters. So I always pick a particular card, decorate it, write a Bible verse in it, and then remind them how hard mom and dad worked for this and that to spend it wisely. So I always have fun doing that. And when my husband and my son passed away, when my husband passed away first, and I made my children also write in the thank you, I made them sign their own name. Oh. And I thought we just kind of had assembly line going. I would write a little bit on the thank you, and then I would sign my name and then pass it to the oldest daughter. She signed hers. The next daughter signed hers, and then my son signed his, and then the youngest brother's because he was only 4. Wow. So, or he's 5. But anyway,
very cool.
I appreciate your topic today, and I love to decorate my envelopes and the cards inside.
Well, we're so happy you do appreciate the topic, but we appreciate you because we just want to say I personally think that the business that you're in, being a mail carrier, the work that you do, it's very difficult. You have to get everything right, and yet it has to be done perfectly because I'm sure people would be very upset if they got other people's mail and this and that. So thank you for what you do. Rain or shine, morning, noon, and night, you're out there delivering our mail, and we need it. Sometimes I wait for a check from something, and I'm waiting, and as soon as our mail carrier pulls up, I'm right behind her truck. So thank you for all you do.
Well, thank you very much. Can I get my mom and dad and my husband's name put in your book and my son?
Sure, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Minnie. It's Laverne. It's Lavern, and then Minnie was my mom. My husband's name was Steve. My son's Drew.
Oh.
Drew. Okay, and we put you in the book as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Geraldine. Yeah. Wow, what an amazing conversation this has been. Michelle in Oklahoma City, we are unfortunately going to hear Ace McKay run the closing music for us in about 3 seconds here, and that gives us about a minute to get out. So, Michelle, if you want to email us, please do. take2@ewtn.com. And we've got another, I think what'll be a fun show tomorrow, Debbie. Very intriguing
Highway to Heaven.
Yep.
Are we centering it around Blessed Carlo Acutis?
Yeah, I think we should, and talking about how important maybe the Eucharist is in our lives, because that was everything to him. He called the Eucharist our highway to heaven.
I love it. That's tomorrow's show, and we hope you join us. This is how Take Two is all about. This is our Take Two family. You are part of the Take Two family. So join us tomorrow for our show titled Highway to Heaven. We're going to talk Eucharistic miracles, Blessed Carlo Acutis, all sorts of things, all centered around the Eucharist. That's tomorrow. Until then, have a beautiful and blessed day. We ask St. Joseph, please pray for the Take Two family.
This is Brian Howell, Operations Manager of